Sometimes love doesn't come softly. It rushes in like a flood, sudden, overwhelming, and impossible to contain. You meet someone, and within hours, your mind starts building a home in their voice. You memorize their laugh, the way they look at you, the small things they don't even notice about themselves. And before you know it, you're already in love. But the truth is, you're not just falling for them. You're falling for what they awaken inside you. People who fall in love too fast often aren't reckless, they're starving. Not for attention, but for connection. For that deep, almost sacred feeling of finally being seen. They carry a kind of emotional hunger that has lived in them for years. It's the hunger of the child who was never truly mirrored, the one who learned that love was something they had to earn, chase, or dream into existence. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." When you fall in love too fast, what you're really doing is replaying an old pattern, one written in the hidden corners of your psyche. You're trying to heal through another person. You're trying to fill the emptiness left by the love that was absent when you needed it most. Jung also spoke of projection, the tendency to see in others what we refuse to see in ourselves. That's what happens when you fall too fast. You don't fall for the person. You fall for the projection of who you need them to be. You fall for the fantasy not because you're naive, but because that fantasy temporarily quiets your loneliness. You project your hidden qualities, your unhealed parts, your ideal self onto someone else. You turn them into a mirror that reflects what you've been longing to see. That's why the first few weeks feel like magic. It's not them. It's you finally meeting yourself through someone else. But eventually, the projection fades. And when it does, the illusion collapses. You start to see the person as they are imperfect, human, incapable of carrying the weight of your unmet needs. And that's when the pain begins. Falling too fast isn't just a romantic pattern. It's a psychological loop, a dance between idealization and disillusionment. You idealize because hope feels safer than emptiness. You rush because stillness reminds you of being unseen. You love deeply, but you often confuse intensity with intimacy. Every new person becomes a new beginning, and every ending, a confirmation of your deepest fear that love never lasts. Eric Fromm once wrote, "Immature love says, 'I love you because I need you.' Mature love says, 'I need you because I love you.'" People who fall in love too fast often live in the first kind not out of immaturity, but out of survival. They need love to feel real, to feel like they exist, because without it, they fear they might disappear. There's a part of you small, unseen, and fragile that still believes love can save you. That part has been waiting for years, believing that one day someone will come along who will finally stay. But love isn't meant to save the child within you. It's meant to help you meet that child, to listen to their fears, to comfort their loneliness, and to show them that they are already enough. When you fall in love too fast, it's that inner child reaching out, whispering, "Please don't leave me again." You attach quickly not because you're weak, but because the ache of disconnection is unbearable. And so you mistake attachment for love. You mistake the familiar ache for passion. You mistake being chosen for being healed. It's easy to romanticize quick love as fate. We call it chemistry or soul connection. But sometimes, what feels like destiny is just the subconscious recognizing something familiar, a wound that looks like home. You don't fall in love with their soul at first sight. You fall in love with their energy, their pattern, the emotional frequency that matches yours. It feels magnetic, but magnetism isn't always truth. Sometimes it's trauma calling out to trauma. Jung wrote that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. The problem is, when one of those personalities is still bleeding, love becomes a form of alchemy that burns instead of heals. Underneath the urgency of falling fast is fear, the fear of not being loved back, the fear of being forgotten, the fear of being ordinary. So you rush to merge. You rush to belong. You rush to create meaning before the silence swallows you again. You tell yourself it's love, but deep down, it's the fear of loss disguised as devotion. And because you fall fast, you also break hard. You give everything, your time, your peace, your sense of self, and when it ends, you feel empty, as if you've lost more than the person. You've lost the version of yourself you only knew through them. People who love too quickly often fall for potential, not reality. You see the best in others because that's how you wish someone would see you. You fall for who they could become because no one ever stayed long enough to see who you could become. And so, love becomes a mirror, one that reflects your longing to be chosen, understood, and believed in. But loving potential is dangerous. Because potential isn't love, it's hope in disguise. You can't build intimacy on what might be. You can only build it on what is. Healing doesn't mean you stop feeling deeply. It means you learn to pause before you give your soul away. You learn to let time reveal who someone truly is, not who your heart hopes they are. Falling slowly doesn't make love less magical. It makes it real. It gives space for two people to meet as they are, not as projections. It allows love to be born from truth, not illusion. Viktor Frankl said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." That space, that pause, is what people who fall in love too fast must learn to honor. Because love without awareness becomes compulsion. Love with awareness becomes freedom. To love without losing yourself means to hold your boundaries gently. It means to let love grow from curiosity, not desperation. It means understanding that love is not a rescue mission. It's a meeting between two evolving souls. You can still love deeply, but let it be grounded in presence. Let it be a love that breathes, not one that burns. Falling in love is beautiful, but staying in love slowly, consciously, intentionally, that's sacred work. Because real love doesn't come from finding someone to complete you. It comes from realizing that you were never incomplete to begin with. Maybe you fall in love too fast, because deep down, you've always been waiting for someone to remind you that you're worthy of love. But maybe that someone has always been you. And when you learn to hold yourself the way you've tried to hold others, when you learn to see your own depth with the same wonder you see in someone else, that's when love stops being a chase and becomes a homecoming. According to Carl Jung, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens.